Hello! I'm Aloha Man. I know you've heard of other superheroes, but I am Aloha Man, the ultimate superhero. Standing in front of my corn because this is a corny video. These are my top 10 great tips for shooting great video on your phone. With phones, you can shoot in portrait or landscape mode. Ideally, though, to take full advantage of all the space on our screens, shoot in landscape mode. Yes, social media caters to the nature of people that shoot video in portrait mode. I'd even say it's an improper way of shooting a great video. Yes, we're all used to it, but look at all the space missing on the screen. Shoot in landscape mode, then you can take full advantage of all the space on your TV. Stabilize your video. Nobody likes to watch shaky video, unless your video is about an earthquake. Hold your phone nice and steady and focus on the action. Keep your phone in one place. If you need to move your phone, make a nice slow move so that your viewers don't get seasick. Consider using a tripod or set your phone on something solid to keep your phone stable. That's why they call it stabilizing. Make lighting your friend. Unless you do video for a living, you probably don't have any special lighting gear to light your subject. But for phone video, you don't need it. Just find yourself a good lighting source. If you're indoors during the day, you could simply move towards a window and improve your video greatly. If you don't have access to daylight or a window, look for a good lighting source. Try not to get directly under a light on a ceiling, or you'll create shadows in places you don't want them. Take a step back and use the light and allow it to fall on your face, not directly on your head. You could use a lamp and even take the shade off to get a little more. Be creative, but definitely find a good lighting source. Be aware of your background. Find a background that is not distracting, something that is pleasant and interesting, but again, not too distracting. It's okay to have movement and other things going on, but when what's going on in the background is more interesting than what you're shooting, it's time to reframe. Use the rule of thirds. Years ago, when TV screens were square, it seemed natural to have your subject stand in the middle of the frame. Today, our screens are wider and there's a lot more room to use. Use the rule of thirds. Instead of placing your subject in the middle of the frame, put them off to the side of the frame. Imagine two lines splitting your screen in thirds, and put your subject in one of those lines. Make sure the subject is facing the direction of where the most empty space is. Using the rule of thirds adds a nice aesthetic to your video. It adds some breathing room and an artistic flair. Your friends will be amazed. Be aware of headroom. Headroom is making sure that there's space between the subject's head and the top of the frame. You don't want to cut off their head, and you don't want too much space above their head. Make sure that there's a little space above so that your subject doesn't look too uncomfortable or cramped. Look at the camera, not the screen. We see a lot of selfie videos shot nowadays, but if you look carefully, many of the people shooting them aren't looking at you, they're looking at the phone screen. It's natural to look at the screen so that you can monitor what you're doing, but there's only one problem. You're not looking at your viewers. You should be looking right at your camera lens. That little tiny dot up in the corner of your phone. Don't look at the screen other than to occasionally monitor. Even when taking a selfie still photo, look at the camera, not at the screen. That way your viewer will feel like you're really looking at them. Be creative with perspective and angles. Something that can set you apart from everyone else is by using different camera angles or different perspectives when shooting. Here's a cute dog running around, but getting down to their level or using creative angles and perspective can take an average shot and turn it into something interesting to your viewer. Audio, in my opinion, is as important as the video. I said audio, in my opinion, is just as important as the video. There's nothing more annoying than seeing a beautifully made video with poor audio.
And most importantly, to love you unconditionally.
You don't need to go out and buy a nice microphone system. You simply just need to be close enough to your subject for the viewer to get the message nice and clear.
I'm just gonna tell you how cute Meadow is. She is so cute.
If you want to make more serious videos, I'd say the best first investment would be in a $30 wired mic that you can actually plug into your phone. Look on Amazon, they sell them there, and the cable is long, so you can stand away from your subject and still get great audio. Keep your editing simple. You may or may not spend time editing your videos. If you do, keep your editing simple. Use music that doesn't distract. Use titles that are simple. And when making transitions, I dare you to stay away from dissolving between scenes. Simply use a straight cut. I was taught that dissolves are for beginners. Using dissolves to fade into your scene or to end your scene are fine, but again, keep your edits to straight cuts. If I ever see you using a shape transition, I'll call the video police on you, and you may be found guilty and sentenced to 5 years of not making videos until you learn better. These are my top 10 tips for shooting great video on my phone, or your phone, or whoever's phone. These are my top 10 great tips. These are my top 10 great tips for shooting great video on your phone.
Kind of scary there.